Newman's Own. You have to say the own because otherwise it sounds like Newman's Own. The zone of Newman. Oh, call me Newman's Own. Newman's Own. I'll do your voiceovers. That would be a gig. Okay, I'm drinking this coffee, which is particularly potent, since I haven't had much coffee since I ran my mouth about caffeine intake. And so when you don't have it every day, woof, it's powerful. That's a bonus. I've decided only to have coffee when I when I don't need it. If I'm really tired, I'll get through it. Because really, how much of it is the end of the world if you're tired? Okay, so you're tired. That means you gotta be doing something else, like getting more sleep. Or going to bed earlier. Oof, I gotta stop. Eileen, this all comes together. Eileen text messaged me and asked me if I would part with my chili recipe. And my recipe changes every time I make it. So I said, well, I could get you a collection of what I think are best practices when making chili. I kind of feel like it should be different every time. That's one of the great things about making chili. It doesn't have to really follow any sort of super strict rules. Now, my dad raised me and my brothers going to chili cook-offs. Dad is from South Philadelphia. His chili that he competed with is called South Philly Chili. Chili from the real South. Pretty good. I don't know if he ever, I don't think he ever won. I know he never won best in show or whatever, but I always thought it was the best. So here are some thoughts, and I will try to keep them organized. First things first, lots of meat. And yeah, you can make vegetarian or even vegan chili. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about lots of meat. Ground beef is okay, but it's sort of like a filler. It's sort of a cheap way out, in my opinion. So if you have to go with ground beef, okay, but it's not really very much fun to work with. I get all sorts of cuts and just cut them really thick. I also get pork, and I cut that really thick, like fat cubes. You could also get bacon. I like to brown that up really crispy and then just crunch it up in a paper towel so it turns into like bacon bits. And you can use the leftover bacon grossness, wonderful salty grossness, and you can fry more meat in that. Another trick to the meat is, except for the bacon and the pork, don't cook it all the way through, the red meat, because it's going to spend, in my situation, at least like 8 hours in the pot, and then more hours. I like to cook it 3 times, like reheat it 3 times. Because what else am I doing on a Tuesday afternoon but reheating chili? I love my life. That's great. So okay, it's going to be cooking for a long time, and if you cook it all the way through in the frying pan, it gets really tough. So that's advice on that. Your usual spices. I made a list of cayenne. Chili powder. Where is the chili powder? This is on my father's advice. He actually got this for me. This is the best chili powder. It's not necessarily the hottest, but it's the tastiest in our opinion. And it's Eagle brand. Gebhardt. Very important. And then whatever you want. Whatever you want, dude. You can put curry powder in your chili. I've done that a few times. My dad actually tasted it on his own. I didn't tell him. And he was like, is there? I didn't even use a lot. So a little goes a long way, and that brings me to my next point. Be careful what you put in, because you can't take it out. You cannot unring that bell, or any bell at all, as a matter of fact. So that's why, like, when it comes to, if you use tomato sauce, or diced tomatoes, just, you know, start off slow and let it be really thick. Because if it's watery, it's, I don't know, I prefer a really thick stew of a chili rather than a watery one. That's my preference. Some other fun things you can put in your chili. Johnny Walker Red. Paul, I think this is yours. When my brother moved to Spain, I inherited a lot of his stuff, and I think that's it. You can tell how much of a drinker I am. I didn't even drink all the whole thing, I'm just saying. I mean, some of it. Patron. This is thanks to Gerald, he introduced me to this. It's like a coffee Patron. Smittix is a nice addition. your favorite bottle of wine, or some of the bottle, you don't want to put the whole thing in. Any beer at all. Guinness is great. I've been in a Smittix phase for like the last year, so when it comes down to a beer, you know, you're feeling a certain way. And this is how I tie it in. Coffee. You can put coffee in your chili. Go freaking figure. Also, chocolate. And brown sugar. Putting sugar in the chili is really fun to play with, but that's, again, to remind you, don't put too much in because you can't take it out. One time I put in too much chocolate. Way too much chocolate. And you wouldn't think there's so much. There's no such thing as too much chocolate. Yeah, there is when it's in chili. Another mistake I made once was I love kielbasa, which my father raised me calling it kielbasi. I don't know why. I love kielbasi. And I just thought if I love kielbasi and chili and I put them together, it's gonna work because I love both things and both things are made of meat. No, no. Kielbasa does not go in chili. Don't even try it. Just trust me. So when your chili's, I said I'd try to make this an organized list. I have a list, but the onions. This is very important. I like to have one big fat onion and then another large onion. The big fat, there's Vidalia onions, but I like the bite of yellow and Spanish onions. Vidalia is sweet and that's fine, but I like the challenge that onions bring in their particular taste. So two big onions, one of them I quarter and the other I chop relatively finely. The great thing about onions is the taste and the sting and the texture. So I find that if you really mince onions, you miss out on the texture when you bite down. So I do little cubed bits, put that in, and then throughout the hours that it's on the stove, when I quarter the biggest onion, I rip the bits in thumb-sized bits. So I just rip the onion apart, about in half or in thirds, and just throw it in. If you do this right at the beginning, then the onions soften up completely by the time the chili's cooked through, or when you're done cooking the chili. So I like to save the onions throughout. Get it? Oh, and so finally, you've got your huge pot of chili. Some nice side dishes, so people can put what they want on top of it or in it, is sour cream, beans, cheese, chips, like nacho chips. I say beans. I don't think I articulate. I don't think I articulate this as well as I should. So I'm going to attempt to. Part of the thing about competition chili is that you can't put beans in the chili, and a lot of people are surprised at this. Well, when chili was really coming, maturing in our world's history, things like beans were added to chili when times were tough and you couldn't afford all that meat. So it served its purpose. But us purists, some of the purists don't even use tomato sauce. They keep it super basic with like peppers and everything, and that's it. So even though beans are really popular now, it doesn't mean that beans should be an addition. Something you choose to put in your chili, just like cheese and sour cream and nachos. As the basic foundation, beans are not a given and not allowed in competition chili. I hope I clarified that for everyone. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If anyone else has any great chili recipes or thoughts about making chili, or awful mistakes you've made with making chili, please, please, please let me know. And I'm going to finish this Newman's Own coffee. Thanks, guys. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. And I'm thinking about everybody in Middletown. Kind of scary. Had a big explosion today at a power plant. People were feeling it up to almost 30 miles away. I didn't feel it, but so far everyone I know and care about in Middletown is accounted for. But it's scary because no one really knows what's going on over there. So, alright. I hope the Saints win. Bye.